joining us today to kick off this week of awareness about distracted driving. For the third year, Governor Tim Kaine has proclaimed a day of distracted driving awareness in Virginia. Today, we officially launch our recognition activities with the actual day of awareness being Wednesday, April 29th. Drive Smart Virginia, and I should introduce myself, I'm Janet Brooking, the Executive Director of Drive Smart Virginia. Drive Smart is a traffic safety nonprofit dedicated to improving the safety of Virginia's roadways. Distracted Driving Awareness Day was created 3 years ago out of concern that some of my board members had over cell phone use behind the wheel. As research such as the Virginia Tech naturalistic driving study came to the forefront and showed us that many distractions were an issue, we moved forward to focus not just on cell phone use behind the wheel, but on all distractions behind the wheel. This campaign has grown significantly. I am delighted to report that as of this year, our third year of this statewide campaign, we now have 165 partners, including companies, including high schools, state and local government, law enforcement agencies, and even one church. We have 3 crucial partners here today. The Virginia Highway Safety Office at DMV has provided some funding for this project. The Virginia State Police and Colonel Flaherty have steadfastly supported this and other traffic safety initiatives. And AAA Mid-Atlantic is the reason we are standing here today. They coordinated this event and are much appreciated. We know that distracted driving is a big problem. Our goal is to help people recognize the danger they put themselves in when they drive distracted. A person who would never consider drinking and driving may not hesitate to text while driving, which has been shown to be just as dangerous. We believe that once people understand the danger of taking their eyes and or mind off of the road, they will work to change their bad habits. And that's why we're here today. What I'm going to do at this point is introduce our next speaker, and that is Martha Mead with AAA Mid-Atlantic.
It's an honor to be participating in the kickoff event for activities across the Commonwealth of Virginia this week surrounding the 3rd annual Distracted Driving Day as proclaimed by Governor Kaine. Distracted driving has become a very serious threat to the motorists across the nation and in Virginia, but Virginia is now taking the lead. Lawmakers in the General Assembly this year passed a new law which goes into effect July 1st, which prohibits drivers of motor vehicles from texting while behind the wheel. At the time that law passed, Virginia was among about 10 states across the nation to take such an aggressive move to try to prevent deaths and injuries on our highways and secondary roads, because distracted driving is certainly not limited to highways. AAA salutes lawmakers for their outstanding work. This week, AAA also salutes Drive Smart Virginia for their tireless work in creating this day 3 years ago, and we hope to see it continue for many years in the future. We join together with DMV and the Virginia State Police and all 165 partners who are sounding the warning sirens about the dangers of being distracted for even a second or two behind the wheel of a car. According to research, drivers are about 2 times more likely to be involved in they take their eyes off the road for just 2 seconds or more. Dubbed the Rule of 2, we are all reminding Virginia motorists today to listen to that call. It may take only 2 seconds to unwrap a hamburger, but think about the 2-year-old who may grow up without a mother or a father, or who may not grow up at all because of fatalities associated with distracted driving. Deaths on our roadways have reached epidemic proportions. Someone dies across the United States of America every 13 minutes on our roadways, and our collective message today is that most of those crashes are preventable. Consider that reading, dialing a phone, or putting on makeup increases your risk of being in a crash by 3 times. Looking at an object outside of the car or talking on the cell phone, 4 times, and reaching for a moving object in a car increases the risk of crash by 9 times. The issue of paying attention behind the wheel seems like common sense to all of us. Nobody would argue that seconds can make a difference between being in a crash or not being in a crash, between life and death. We all know that a distracted driver who's facing a danger ahead of them on the road is less likely to perceive that danger, slowly to decide what action to take, and has lost critical seconds needed to make an evasive maneuver. Then why do millions of people every day across the nation and across Virginia drive without paying attention? According to a 2008 study done by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, 82% of drivers believe that distracted driving is a serious problem. But 53% of those very same people admit to talking on a cell phone and 14% to text messaging within 30 days prior to the survey when behind the wheel of a car. The problem is we have come to live in a do as I say, not as I do society. Do drivers believe they are invincible? That they can telepathically know what's going to happen 2 seconds down the road, 5 seconds down the road? That they can stop their car faster or better than anyone else? Those who believe that are putting themselves and everyone who shares the road with them in danger. When asked the question why, after a crash, the answer is all too often, I just didn't realize it happened so fast. Distracted Driving Day partners today are calling on everyone, every day, every week of the year, to take some of their own advice. When we teach a child to cross the road, we teach them to stop, look, and listen. Today, we are asking drivers to stop all other activities, to look at the road ahead of them, and to listen to their brain only when it's telling them how to drive the car safely. Behind me today, you see 100 hats, which demonstrate the severity of the problem on our nation's roadways. Of every 100 crashes, 80, represented by the red hats behind me, involve some type of driver distraction within 2 to 3 seconds before the crash. Only 20%, only the black hats, did not involve driver inattention. Thank you.
I'm the Governor's Highway Safety Coordinator, and I'm with the Virginia Highway Safety Office at DMV. On behalf of the Highway Safety Office, I would like to thank DriveSmart and all of our partners for bringing attention to the important issue of distracted driving. Studies have shown that distracted driving accounts for a large number of crashes in Virginia. On average, according to our data, Virginia experiences approximately 29,000 crashes, 15,000 injuries, and 130 fatalities annually that can be attributed to distracted driving. The top 4 distractions are eyes not on the road, looking at roadside incidents, driver fatigue, and cell phones. In addition to awareness events like this, the Highway Safety Office and its Smart, Safe, and Sober partners work to minimize distracted driving as well as other highway safety risks through programs such as Click It or Ticket, Checkpoint Strike Force, Motorcycle 411, and Youth of Virginia Speak Out About Traffic Safety, which is specifically targeted toward youth. The main goal of all these programs is to save lives on Virginia's roadways. We ask all of you today to concentrate on the task of driving, minimize your distractions, and take responsibility for yourself and your family by always buckling up. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Good morning, and thank all of you for being with us. We appreciate you taking the time from your schedule to come and hear what we have to talk to you about today, because it's a very important message. Thank you, David. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Janet, for the message that you just shared with it. I think you really heard solid cases for the dangers of distracted driving. And the statistics, the numbers that we've shared with you to this point are not just that. They're not statistics and numbers. We're talking about people, people's lives, people that are injured, people that are killed. It's very alarming to hear the numbers, to see the hats that are here. 8 out of 10, 80 out of 100, 800 out of 1,000 crashes because somebody's not paying attention. It should be very alarming to all of us. And sometimes I wonder, just what it's going to take to get drivers, really of all ages, to pay attention to their driving, to get back to the basics of good, sound, safe driving. You know, if we wanted folks to talk, to text, if we wanted them to be fooling with the gadgets, changing their CD player, dealing with their GPS, shaving, fiddle around with all kinds of gadgets that are available to them, we teach that in driver's ed. There's enough multitasking going on in a vehicle just with a simple operation of driving. Making sure that you're using your turn signal, obeying the speed limit, watching your driving distance and maintaining the safe distance. There's just too much going on that's dedicated to the operation itself for us to pay attention to other things inside of the vehicle. I don't know why in the world that anyone would want to further complicate an already very complicated job. You know, I think about the cars back a few years ago when I first started driving. You had a steering wheel and a couple of gauges and a speedometer and maybe an AM radio. And it was still quite a challenge for young drivers and adult drivers to be able to pay attention to the road. Now, think about the dashboard that's in your car with the multiple gauges, the 6 CD player, the GPS that tells you everything from your temperature outside to your temperature inside to the turn that you just missed. You know, as our lives have become more complex, so does driving, and so does what goes on in the vehicle, and at what expense. You've heard some of the numbers. We're losing way too many lives on Virginia highways. We've had a good year last year in terms of reducing the fatalities, but we've still got to work harder. We're ahead of the curve this year compared to last year, but we're still losing way too many people. And people just have to resist that urge to dial or to text. And I know it's hard to resist. There's no one that's more tethered to the BlackBerry than I am. 24/7, 365. But I also recognize the dangers associated with trying to talk on a phone, or text, or read messages when I'm driving along. And how much danger is involved by taking your eyes off the road for just those critical few seconds. Our troopers deliver hundreds of death messages a year, going to visit on families and tell them that their loved one's not coming home. And many of those crashes, as you've already heard, are because of distracted driving. Distractions, distracted driving does in fact cause crashes, no doubt about it. So, we challenge you this week. We challenge you to go 7 days without being distracted. Turn your telephone off. Don't fiddle with the gadgets as you drive down the road. It'll make a difference. Pay attention to what's going on around you and what's important to drive. It will make a difference. It'll truly mean a difference between life and death for you, for your family, for your passengers, and for the other users of the road. Thank you again so much for being with us this morning.
I want to thank you all again for coming and taking your time to be with us today, and encourage everyone to take the challenge that the Virginia State Police have just offered to us. I also want to let you know that we would really like to see all Virginians take the pledge on our website to not drive distracted, and that is www.drivesmartva.org. So we'd like to encourage people to take that pledge this week to not drive distracted, and thank you all.